Welcome to Yeshiva Daf, Shir Spatzer, Lu Nishmas, I'm Yaakov Shalom now, Basitzchok. We're holding in Shavuos Daf, Yud Gimel. We're starting in Yud Beis and Yud Beis towards the bottom. 5 lines to the bottom. We just learned, the Gemara mentioned, when we see the Mishnah, the Yom Kippur is Bechaper and everything. Eseh, Loisa, Eseh, Chav Mrs. Beisi, Kares, Naida, Loina, there could be Bechaper, the whole thing. So what's this? He didn't do tshuva. So zevach Hashem, how can would you be the korban should not work? He didn't do tshuva. He did tshuva. Kol yom nami. If he did tshuva, every day should work. The Tanya avar mitzvah said also tshuva. So what the mitzvah said right away did tshuva. Lo yizos mishomat shemoichelim loy. He doesn't move for there until he's moichelim loy. Right away. I should bring the zos. Because every Avera creates a malach. So here they don't even let him to create a malach. Right away it's over if he does tshuva. So what did you give it for? Omar Bezeh with David Gimel Dav on top. Be'oimed memirdoy. What's oimed memirdoy? According to Rashi, means lo yas tshuva. We just bet you lo yas tshuva. Changing the lashon. That's what it means. Oimed memirdoy. If oimed memirdoy, how does you keep it work? For Rabbi. Tanya Rabbi Oimer al kol aveiru shebat toiro peino satshuva peino lo satshuva Yom Kippur mechaper. Yom Kippur is mechaper and all aveirus. Chutz, there's 3 exceptions. Poire koil, as Rashi says, it's koifer beikor, it's koifer Hashem. Umegale porim batero, he's megale in the toiro, the wrong pirush of the toiro. Umei for bris basa, or he is made for bris milah. 3 in yanim. First, you go on to say. It's really a kfir at HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the Torah and in the bris. What is that? We know there's 3 things that come together. Chazal says and the Zohar tell us. Kudsha B'Richu v'Yisrael v'Rais Achadu. What is the essence of these 3? Kudsha B'Richu, Koifer B'Ikor. He's against HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Made for a Torah is against the Torah. And made for bris basar is the bris of Am Yisrael. Shabbos is another Indian. I'm saying we talk about it something which is in the goof of Am Yisrael. Makes that the talk about the bodies of Am Yisrael. Conceptually, the guy is doing many averis. He's doing chazir everything, but here we talk about 3 things which are in be'etzem.
So do you have to do tshuva on Yom Kippur?
Oh, so it says Rabbi, you don't do tshuva. Rabbi's shita. Except these 3. These 3 must have tshuva Yom Kippur mechaper. V'im lav einik Yom Kippur mechaper. My tabi the Rebbe. What's the reason of Rabbi? The Tanya says in the Brayso. Kidvar Hashem bozo. This is we saw in Masechet Sanhedrin, if you remember. That's this is Dvar Hashem bozo. Is Hashem. Dvar Hashem is the Rashi says the one dibur HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, Anoich Hashem Elokecho, which is the dibur we heard from Hashem, Dvar Hashem, and Dvar Hashem is also the Torah. So it's Proik Oil Migal Purim HaTorah. But it's mitzvah so for the one mitzvah which is the mitzvah Chashuva. Zamei for bris basar. Hikaris tikaris. On this we say hikaris tikaris. Hikaris ifnei Yom Kippurim. Tikaris la'achar Yom Kippur. He gets a punishment before Yom Kippur. After Yom Kippur, it doesn't not mechaper. Yechol afilu also tshuva. Maybe tshuva doesn't work. Tomu lo ima avoy nabo. Lo amayte bezman she'avoy nabo. So Rabbi says there's 3 things that require tshuva. Everything else does not require tshuva. Automatically Yom Kippur is mechaper. The Kotzker says on this. So according to Rabbi, what's pshat? Pshat is the really every Yid wants to do tshuva, but when a Yid doesn't want to do tshuva, comes Yom Kippur doesn't want to do tshuva. What's pshat in this Yid? Pshat that he's so covered with tumah that he can't even see his real Ratzon. When he comes to Yom Kippur, he doesn't want to do tshuva. So so pshat is that he goes to Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur takes away all that dirt. He goes straight into his nekudas hanefesh that he even doesn't know exists. And gets the tshuva. So that's right. Rabbanon disagree. I want to hold for Yom Kippur in tshuva. Hi, what does it say? Hikaris got these 3 mitzvahs. Hikaris b'olam hazeh, hikaris b'olam habo. There's nichos in both worlds. Avoy nabo shimos tshuva v'meis misar v'marekes. If he did tshuva and he died, so then it works, right? For these 3. The other ones without it. No, I'm saying Misa. Yom Kippur requires tshuva. What about Misa? So Rashi says clearly, Misa, you don't need tshuva. Look at Rashi. Rashi says, Rashi says, "V'Rabbanon de'islu na'im b'shavei zeu kippur mechaper sheinu shovin amri lechayil degal yekrov b'anechlad labi kippur hari elay kos tekomar." We're talking about legabe shamisa merekes al tshuva. And at the end of Rashi, aval shar aveiros beloy tshuva nami misa merekes. Rashi tells us other aveiros, just death misa is enough for kapar. Like Rebbe holds regarding Yom Kippur, that's Rabbanan hold regarding misa. Toys asks on this that we do find that back also in the Gemara in Yuma, the misa is not enough. Sometimes you need more than misa. So he says misa and everything that's involved in misa. There's Yisurim to come. Chivut hakever. Person also after misa continues the process of misa. So not only the death itself, the tzias and the neshama, it can be more than that. But the point is that regular misa doesn't require tshuva. According to Rabbanan, Yom Kippur does. And the three Aveiros, you need tshuva with a misa.
The Gemara says that there are certain people who didn't get Adam Hagel. Did they have misa?
So maybe, so that they're get to these three Aveiros Chamurs. They're koy for Beikar, they're koy for Elam Haba, they're koy for things that it specifically has a problem. Choy to Machtis Rav, the Gemara brings a list of people that is not enough. And then maybe put to that, it's a good error. Good error.
What does that mean? That Misa itself is mechaper the person?
Yeah.
Without doing tshuva.
Without doing tshuva, according to Rabbanan. Says the Gemara, okay, so the Gemara was saying, according to Rabbi, that's our Mishnah. When our Mishnah says that Yom Kippur, the Seir, Yom Kippur, is mechaper nasei, person did not do tshuva. He goes through Yom Kippur, rectifies it. Now according to Rabbanan, according to Rabbi. So they go, Mimat says, look at Rabbi, you want to tell me this is Rabbi? I mean, the Sefer Rabbi Yudoi. It's not Rabbi Yudoi. It's not Rabbi, it's Rabbi Yudoi. Why? We said in the end of the Mishnah, all the Yisrael, Kohen Mashuach, they're all equal in some way, which we'll see in a moment. Who's the man which agrees with this svara? Rabbi Yudoi. Rabbi doesn't want to agree with that. Mechlal, the Reish Rabbi Yudoi. Not Rebbe. Well, if it's Rebbe, if it's like Abudo. No, it's Rebbe. And he holds like Abudo, Legabe, these, the Kohanim, Kohen Meshuach, and Yisrael, and Mechab in the same kapar. Only Abaye, Dafka Kol, Rebbe, so like Abudo. Abudo, loy so like Rebbe. Do you tell me that Rebbe holds like Abudo, but not vice versa? It goes both ways. I want to say that Rebbe holds, we want to say Rebbe going like a Rebbe because Rebbe was a Talmud of Rebbe. So I'm saying you should know that when we see the sheet at the end of the Mishnah is reading his Rebbe, Rebbe is saying it, to say Rebbe goes like his Rebbe. No. This point at the end of the Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda holds that way. Rabbi Yehuda does not hold like Rabbi regarding Tshuva and Yom Kippur. The Tanya. Could it be the Yom Kippur we mechaper without Tshuva? The Dinu makes sense. We know they have Korbanos Chol Zvashim, and we know we have Yom Kippur. Maybe the same korban, you need to have a vidu, you need to have a kapara, you have to do tshuva for korbanos. So of course, Yom Kippur need to have also tshuva. Says, one second, Chavdazah works only for shoyki. Tell you about Yom Kippur, Yom Kippur, you could do tshuva, you could be rectified even for mezid. Or even mechaper lameiz kishogi chaper al shovim al shein al shovim. Maybe you don't need to do tshuva. Talmud loima achilik. It says, and we got Yom Kippur. Ach ba'asor lechodesh shvi. Ach that can be do tshuva. Now if you don't do tshuva. Stam sefer mani Rabbi Yehuda. This is Rabbi Yehuda. V'kol ma shovim in lo shovim loy. Right? It says it's Rabbi Yehuda. And if it's Rabbi Yehuda says shovim lo shovim loy, which means Rabbi Yehuda, this is the Sifra. Sifra is Toras Korani. That is Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda is one who's dashing it. Rabbi Yehuda is telling us what? Dafka Shavuos. He doesn't hold like Rabbi. So when we said our Mishnah is Rabbi, and the end is Rabbi holds like Rabbi Yehuda, you have to say it that way. You can't say the opposite. Rabbi Yehuda holds like Rabbi, because Rabbi Yehuda does not hold like Rabbi. Says the Gemara, Virami Stam Sifra or Stam Sifra. So I have a little problem with that. I hear what you're saying. Sifra tells me you only have to do tshuva. And that's Rabbi Yehuda. But we have a steer in the Sifra itself. The Sifra itself, the Tanya. Could it be that you could be Mechaper only if you didn't Tainis? And you call Mika Kodesh. What's called Mika Kodesh? Rashi says, Mika Kodesh means, he says the bracha Mikadesh Yisrael v'Yom Kippur. Toys asks, the Gemara is talking Midaraisa. We'll see. So Midaraisa we don't have a bracha Mikadesh Yisrael v'Yom Kippur. So therefore Toys says he does Shvisa because of Yom Kippur. He's not doing work today, not because he wants to rest. Because it's Yom Kippur. He's accepting this day because of Yom Kippur. So I want to say that Rashi agrees with Toys. Just how do we say it's Yom Kippur? By saying because you saw the Yom Kippur. I mean, Chazal gave us the ability to verbalize what we're trying to tell you, that this is Yom Kippur. It's not that this is a Stam day. Okay. So maybe he has to do tiniest, Kodesh, loss of Malachu, but Lo Yisanu, but he didn't do tiniest. If you call me Kodesh, he didn't call me Kodesh, you make it Yom Kippur. How do you know that Yom Kippur is Mechaper? Mashra, what we won't understand, meaning that it's not called doing tshuva, because he's doing a virus right now. Mashra, you don't have to have tshuva. A person can do a virus, and that's Stam Sifra. Sifra? Look, Kasha. In the Sifra itself, Stam Sifra is a Yehuda. With this Sifra, this part of the Sifra is Rabbi. Rabbi. They're both Rabbi. Meaning, the Sifra goes like Rabbi. And Rabbi holds that Tshuva is not required Yom Kippur. So why the first Sifra says without Tshuva it doesn't work? So go on, the Rabbi because the Yoimo. On the chorus of that specific day, that he agrees that the chorus of Yom Kippurim, that he agrees you have to do Tshuva. Why? In other words, if you didn't do Tshuva, so you're not going to have Kapara on Yom Kippurim. Look at Rashi. Wait to Rabbi because the Yoimo, toward the end of the middle narrow lines. Hadatanya Kamaisa Denu Mechaper Shenu Shavim because Yom Kippurim Kolmar Shel Inui Shel Meloch. Avakoshar Vez Bechaper Abi Shehoso Bo Meloch V'Lo Yisanu. So you do the Meloch. In other words, Yom Kippur is Mechaper and everything. But on Inu V'Meloch, when a person doesn't fast Yom Kippur, all the various is Kaper. Except what? Yom Kippur itself. Why not? So it makes a lot of sense. According to this, you won't ever have the Kars Yom Kippur. Because what's Kars Yom Kippur? Person went and he did not fast Yom Kippur. So he ate Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is Mechaper. So there's no Kars. What would be the scenario that you have a Kars Yom Kippur? The minute the person ate Yom Kippur, comes Yom Kippur and Mechaper according to Rebbe.
The question is, when is Yom? We did it before. When is Yom Kippur Mechaper?
Oh, it says the Gemara, Alamaloi. Now you're talking about, he did it in the night. Because in the night you have chorus, but Yom Kippur is Mechaper, Kibayom Ezei Chaper Alechem. That's the day. Until the day you have Kapar. The lawyer saw Yom Mechaper. You didn't come to the day. Maybe that will be the chorus of Yom Kippur according to Rebbe. Says the Gemara, you're right. Yeah, that's fine. Elo, Amo, our question is that it's dealing with base. Chorus there Yamamo le Rebbe Leisle. You'll never have chorus in the day of Yom Kippur. And there is chorus in the day because it says Be'etzem Hayom Hazeh. Okay, Kol Nidre is just a Achroz what Yom Kippur is all about. But if the chorus, we know there's a chorus for the day of Yom Kippur. So now Yom Kippur, you're right. The chorus is 9 Yom Kippur. We have it's and he died before the morning. That chorus is effective. But if a person has Yom Kippur day and there's no chorus in the day because the minute he ate Yom Kippur, the minute Yom Kippur rises Mechaper. Says the Gemara, I'll tell you why. You know what he did? He ate a a piece of meat, and as he's eating it, he choked and died. There was no opportunity for him to give it to Mechaper. He needs to eat it and then get him Kippur. But here it happened, that moment he died. Or he ate as came Shkia. So in other words, he didn't have time in the day to be Mechaper. He understands the Kapar comes after the Davir. So immediately there is an opportunity for the curse to happen, so this Raya is not a Raya. One wanted to say, the Rava says, according to Rebbe, you Kippur Kares, you have to do tshuva. Why? Because if not, it will never be effective. So it could be effective this time. You will find when it works. So no right. You have to do tshuva. Says the Gemara. Chad Yisrael ve'echad Kohen Mashuach. Echad Kohen ve'echad Kohen Mashuach. So that the Mishnah says that they all are equal. Kohen Mashuach, which means the Kohen Gadol, the Kohanim, and Yisrael, they're all equal. So the Gemara Buvakasho. It says they're all equal. Right after the next sentence of the Mishnah is that there's a difference. They use a seir, Kohanim use a seir, the Yisrael use a seir, the Kohanim use a par. It's not the same thing. That when it says they're equal regarding Siyar Mishtalech for other Averis. The only difference between them, there's no difference between them in there. What is the difference? The par works for Kohanim. Gabi too was Migdash Kodesh. What did the Mishnah say? There's a difference between the Kohanim and Yisrael. According to Abudo, Kohanim, how they have kapara with the par. What's the par? You bring a bull to Visaydosh, and the Kohen Gadol puts his hand on it, and he does a vidui. Remember in Yom Kippur, what do we have on vidui? We have in Yom Kippur. Do we lay down on the towels? Everybody makes the mistake of put the towels on your feet. Now you have to put the towels on your head. How many times do you have that? Okay? How many Hashtachavos have you Kippur? 3. Because each one is a vidui. First vidui is the Kohen Gadol on himself. Second is Kohen Gadol on his house. And we'll see in a moment on the Kohanim. And the third one is on Am Yisrael. The first two are done on the par. The par is the bull that goes into the Kodesh Kodashim. And the third one is done in the Seir. So that's what the Yehuda says. The par is for Tumas Migdash Shov, that's the par for the Kohanim. On Yisrael, the Seir. But other Averis, they all do Seir Mishtalech. So that's what they equal. That's this Abudu. So Rashi learns that the following sentence that we talk about is coming to Mechaber and different tumas that happen in these places. So he argues a little bit. He says that we talk about the Hazois. That the Hazois have to be in these areas. But what is it says like this? Chibras Mikdash Kodesh, Selifnai Lifrim, that you're doing that Kodesh Kodesh. Soil Moed Zehechel. Mizbeach Kamashmo, which means the Mizbeach itself. Yechaper Elu Hazoris. So that's the areas. According to Rashi, Mechaber and Tumah that happen in these areas. According to the Torah, says you do Hazois in these areas. Koyanim Kamashmo. Amakol Elu Yisrael. Yechaper Elu Levim. They talk about everybody. Hushu Kolim Lekapur Achash Mizkaper Mesir Mishtalech Mishar Averis Yivrebi. So if you know the Siyar Mishtalech, that's what we saw in the Mishnah, is Mechaper on everybody. On Shar Averis. Shimon Oimer, Kashem Shadam Siyar Nasa Bifnim Mechaper Yisrael to his Migdash Kotchov. The same way the blood. Now here comes Shimon. This is what we saw in the Mishnah. Let's just review it first outside and then go inside. And the way the Achronim say it's important in Agdom of the Achronim. According to the Achronim, review the holds. The first shit that we learn, video is not me'akiv. You don't have to do video. That's what we say. We reviewed it in Seches Yom. So I don't have to do video. So video is not part of the kapar. I do video. It's a nice thing to do. I don't have to do it. So what's the main difference? Is that the Migdash Shukotshov is done with the par by the Kohanim. And Siyar Nasa Bifnim for the Yisrael. Siyar Mishtalech is done for everybody. Sharvers. Because of Shiva, it says no video is ma'akiv. You have to do video. So there's 2 parts. One part is the actual blood, the actual carbon, and the other one is the video. So let's look at Am Yisrael. Am Yisrael, you have 2 parts. You have the Siyar Nasa Bifnim, blood, that is Migdash Kvikotchov. The video is the Siyar Mishtalech. That's Sharvers. Now let's take the Koyanim. You have the par is done inside Migdash Kvikotchov. The vidui, where is the video done? On the par. The avidu should be Sharvers. So let's see inside. It Says the Gemara, if Shimon Oivik Hashem Shedam Siyar Nasi V'Frim Mechapel Yisrael to his Mikdash Kodesh. The blood is to his Mikdash Kodesh. Kach Dal Apam Mechapel Kohanim to his Mikdash Kodesh. That's what blood does. Ukeshem Shevidu Shem Shtalam Mechapel Yisrael V'Shaveris. Saying with the Vidu works for all the Averis. Kach Vidu Shepar Mechapel Kohanim V'Shaveris. That's what it is. So if Shimon holds the Siyar Mishtalech does not work for Kohanim. Kohanim when that don't get Siyar Mishtalech. So while they have Shimon Hai Vada Yushvu. So where were they equated? The Mishnah started by saying the Kohanim, Kohen Gadol, Yisrael are all equal. Equal in what? They're not equal. My Yushvu the Bnei Kapar Nino. The Yushvu they all get Kapar. They call Chad Bechad Mechaber B'nei Nafshim. They all Bnei Kapar. They all have kapar. They're all going to be rectified this day. But how exactly they're different? My Talmud what's the reason of Shimon Dechtiv? You have a heked between the two seir. Because the Kohanim have the power, they have the bull. Seir Mishtalech is only for Yisrael. You know the hekesh? Not that the Kohanim were not part of it, but to say that the Seir Nasi Ephraim and the Seir Mishtalech have to be twin saying they look exactly the same. Who does? So when Matano la Tonu Rabbanon B'Shochet the Seir Chadas Shalom said the Shem Seir Chadas of the Om Shein Kohanim Miskaper boy, where the Kohanim are now Miskaper by the Seir Chadas Shalom. Over Mem Miskaper. So what is the kapara of the Kohanim? Beparoi Shel Aaron. They get the bull. Maybe will say they won't have the bull. It says to Aaron. So they don't have the Kohanim. It says in fair shall be kapar the Kohanim. You saw the person before. It makes sense they should belong to Parash Aaron. Because it says clearly it's mechaber and it's mishpacha. So we say let's include in there the entire Shevet Kehuna. Siyar Nasi Ephraim is only Yisrael. If you still have a question on this, we'll see in a moment what's the question. It says Beis Aaron, which is the Koyan. We'll see in a moment. Who is this Brisa that says the Kohanim and Yisrael are all very different? But the Kohanim are not getting the kapara of Yisrael; they're getting the kapara of the Kohen Gadol. Say one of you, look at Abudo. It's not like Abudo. The Abudo of the Kohanim yeshlam kapara b'sei mishtalach. According to Abudo, the Kohanim do get kapara like Yisrael in sei mishtalach. So says the Gemara, Umani. So who is it? Rav Shimoni. It's Kohen Shimon. So Kohanim kapara b'sei mishtalach. You could say it's a Abudo. Maybe you'll tell me they want not kapara of other averis. I know they have kapara. So what we're questioning is, so they have no kapara and two is mikdash v'kachot. We do it. That's what really the question of the Gemara is based on. The whole brain says there's no kapara the Kohanim. What do you mean? Of course, it's kapara the Kohanim. But according to you, it is kapara the Kohanim. It says the Gemara, you're right. Shar averis have kapara. I know that. But maybe what about two is mikdash v'kachot? Kamodim atzir shesh lo kapara b'shar averis. Kachish lo kapara with Davidad Dalef v'tumas mikdash v'kachot. You have kapara there as well. But mehem is kapim. So what will be the kapara? Mutu she is kapim with parish shel Aaron. Shortar michlalo etzel beisoi. It makes sense they should be part of the power of Aaron, which works for his family. But his kapim is mishab b'fnim shari lo utor michlalo. Though not seen as b'fnim, which is not done for anybody else. V'hin nafshich aloyim. If you still have a question, right? You have the pasuk. What's the pasuk? So the Chura, I was looking, I didn't see them first, speak about it too much, but I think it's Moshe Pshat. How does the pasuk go? The pasuk says, Beis Yisrael Baruch Hashem, you're taking care of Am Yisrael. It says Beis Halevi Baruch Hashem, that's Beis Halevi. Beis Aaron Baruch Hashem, who's that? Doesn't mean his own family, it means the Kohanim, the same way the other one is speaking about a much larger crowd. So you see, you call the Kohanim Beis Aaron. So because it says Yeshiva Be'adu Be'ad Beisoi, so Beis is included. Says the Gemara, what we were so questioned? It says Beisoi. Kulam Kurim Beisoy Shenemar Beis Aaron B'chus Hashem Hashem B'chus Hashem. It says clearly that he's called Beisoy. So it says Beisoy refers to not only the Mishpacha but also the entire Shevet Kohuna. Very good. So that's the Gemara Dash. The Gemara basically just brings the drush to the court of Yehuda, the court of Shemin, and the Gemara wants to say the last brayso is that the brayso wanted to say the way the brayso sounds. The brayso says, "You want to tell me Kohanim you have no kapara? It has to be to have kapara." No, the kapara with the Aaron and Kohen. What are we talking about? Charaveris? Sounds like you're talking about Charaveris. There's no kapara. There's no kapara at all. So the answer is no. We're talking. So the Gemara says no. It could be you talk about a Mikdash V'Kachov. And Tumas Mikdash V'Kachov. Say this. I know that Kohanim have kapara Charaveris, but what about Tumas Mikdash V'Kachov? You want to tell me they have no kapara on that? As we saw in the beginning in the Masechta, we learned that on the first Shabbos. We're not here, but we mentioned it. Tumas Mikdash V'Kachov is the Ikar kapara of Yom Kippur. That's why we're so busy with it, because that's the way you have kapara. The kapara comes from the fact that the Mikdash is Akash Baruch Hu's Libun Shel Yisrael. From there, the kapara is Nerveah. So you need to have to purify Tumas Mikdash V'Kachov, and mainly that's the reason why it's so important to have it. We say the Kohanim for sure have it, so they join Aaron according to everybody, according to Reb Shimon and according to Yehuda, at least the Tumas Mikdash V'Kachov. So we'll stop over here and continue tomorrow. Be'ez Hashem.